Hello students, we continue studying the second chapter of history, that is writing and city life. In the two previous videos we have seen the growth and development of civilization in Mesopotamia. In this video we will study life in the city of Ur, a trading town in a pastoral zone, that is life in the city of Mari, and the legacy of writing in Mesopotamia. Life in the city of Ur. In Mesopotamian society, the nuclear family was the norm. Although a married son and his family often resided with his parents, the father was the head of the family in the Mesopotamian civilization. We know a little about the procedures of marriage that happened in Mesopotamia. A declaration was made about the willingness to marry by the bride's parents. When the wedding took place, gifts were exchanged by both parties, who ate together and made offerings in a temple. Ur was one of the earliest cities to have been excavated in Mesopotamia. Narrow, winding streets indicate that wheeled carts could not have reached many of the houses. Sacks of grain and firewood would have arrived on donkey back. Narrow winding streets and the irregular shapes of house plots also indicate an absence of town planning. There were no street drains of the kind we find in the contemporary Mohenjo-daro. The drains and clay pipes were instead found in the inner courtyard of the Ur houses, and it is thought that house roofs sloped inward and rainwater was channeled via drain pipes into sumps in the inner courtyard. So if we compare the Mesopotamian civilization with that of the contemporary Mohenjo-daro civilization, we find the Mohenjo-daro civilization was a planned civilization, a planned city, whereas Mesopotamian towns were not planned. Yet people seem to have swept all their household refuses into the streets to be trodden underfoot. This made street levels rise, and over time the thresholds of houses had also to be raised so that no mud would flow inside after the rains. Light came into the rooms not from windows but from doorways opening into the courtyards. This also have given families their privacy. Superstitions about houses recorded at Ur. A raised threshold brought wealth. A front door that did not open towards another house was lucky. If the main wooden door of a house opened outwards instead of inwards, the wife would be a torment to her husband. There was a town cemetery at Ur in which the graves of royalty and commoners have been found, but a few individuals were found buried under the floors of ordinary houses. Dead bodies of royal family were buried with jewelry, gold vessels, wooden musical instruments inlaid with white shell and lapis lazuli, ceremonial daggers of gold, etc. Now we'll study about another town that was excavated in Mesopotamia. Life in the city of Mari. After 2000 BCE, the royal capital of Mari flourished. Mari stands not on the southern plain with its highly productive agriculture, but much further upstream on the Euphrates. Here, agriculture and animal rearing were carried out close to each other in this region. Herders need to exchange young animals, cheese, leather, and meat in return for grain, metal tools, etc. And the manure of a penned flock is also of great use to a farmer. In Mesopotamia, nomadic communities of the western desert filtered into the prosperous agricultural heartland. Shepherds would bring their flock into the sown area in the summer. Such groups would come in as herders, harvest laborers, or hired soldiers, occasionally become prosperous and settle down. A few gained the power to establish their own rule. These included the Akkadians, Amorites, Assyrians, and Arameans. The kings of Mari, however, had to be vigilant. Herders of various tribes were allowed to move in the kingdom, but they were watched. The camps of herders are mentioned frequently in the letters between kings and officials. In one letter, an officer writes to the king that he has been seeing frequent fire signals at night sent by one camp to another, and he suspects that a raid or an attack is being planned. Mari was located on the Euphrates in a prime position for trade between the south and the mineral-rich uplands of Turkey, Syria, and Lebanon. Boats carrying grinding stones, wood, and wine, and oil jars would stop at Mari on their way to the southern cities. Officers of this town would go aboard, inspect the cargo, and levy a charge of about 1/10 the value of the goods before allowing the boat to continue downstream. Although the kingdom of Mari was not militarily strong, but it was exceptionally prosperous. We can say the prosperity mainly because of the strategic location of Mari in Mesopotamia. The legacy of writing in Mesopotamia. Perhaps the greatest legacy of Mesopotamia to the world is its scholarly tradition of time reckoning and mathematics. Dating around 1800 BCE are tablets with the multiplication and division tables, square and square root tables, and tables of compound interest. Students had to solve problems such as the following. A field of area such and such is covered 1 finger deep in water. Find out the volume of water. The division of the year into 12 months according to the revolution of the moon around the earth. The division of the month into 4 weeks, the day into 24 hours, and the hour into 60 minutes, and all that we take for granted in our daily lives has come to us from the Mesopotamians. Whenever solar and lunar eclipses were observed, their occurrence was noted according to year, month, and day by the Mesopotamians. So too, there were records about observed position of stars and constellations in the night sky. None of these momentous Mesopotamian achievements would have been possible without writing and the urban institution of schools, where students read and copied earlier written tablets, and where some boys were trained to become not record keepers for the administration, but intellectuals who could build on the work of their predecessors. So we have come to the end of the chapter. Thank you.